Hey, everybody, this is Alex behind the camera, and I want to welcome you to the Anthony Lending Team podcast. Obviously, from the drumming, you can see that we have two big music fans on the show today. We have Richie Torrance and Allan Minter, and I'm going to let Michael take it away for the official introduction.
All right. Thanks, Alex. We appreciate it. Well, listen, I'm so excited. I have two of my besties here, Allan Minter with Dorsey, Alston. Yeah, baby.
Absolutely.
And Richie Torrance with Keller Williams, Peachtree Road. So
Absolutely.
Introduce yourselves. Richie, you go first, baby.
Hey, everybody. I'm Richie Torrance with Rich Atlanta, Keller Williams, and hey, I'm just excited to be here with you, with two of my best friends.
Awesome.
Aw, I love that.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Oh, nice.
Hello, everyone. I'm Allan Minter. I am with Dorsey, Alston Realtors, and I'm with two of my best friends here as well, in the business and I think in personal life too.
Right, exactly.
They're all kind of intertwined.
Right.
That's right. That's right. So a little history, just a little context for everybody. So Allan and I met, 15 years ago?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So 15 years ago. And for about 500, we met at a networking group. So for 500 Wednesdays at 7 a.m., we got together and got to talk about business. But we've since moved on from that. But I mean, meeting you at that time, in my career at least, was instrumental. It was huge. So
Same.
I mean, just everything that you've done over the years is awesome. And then Richie, how long you been in the business?
8 years now.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And I started, Allan's the one that really brought me in, and that's how I met you. Like shortly, probably a week after meeting Allan's when I met you.
So you started the same brokerage. So how did you guys meet? How did that all happen?
I love to tell the story.
Go for it.
All right. So I had just, gotten started
Richie,
in the business.
Just talk right into that mic for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I feel like I got to look at everybody when I'm talking to
Yeah,
them.
that's fine.
All right.
If you can position it a little bit different.
I'm going to stare out that window. That's not going to work.
Yeah, you can move it towards your mouth. There you go.
Can I do this?
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
fine.
cool.
Yeah.
So, all right, so that's my cue to start. The way it's funny because when I first got to Harry Norman, which was the first brokerage I'd been with, because I didn't really know. I understood real estate, but I was wanting to get into the game, and that was close to where I lived. So someone suggested you should go meet with them, and I met with Miss Helen, came on board. And while I was there, I kept hearing Allan's name all the time, and he had been in an accident and you broke your shoulder.
Oh my gosh, that's right. My collarbone.
Collarbone.
Mountain biking, right?
Yeah, that was 2015.
And I ran into him. I think we were in the restroom, and I just felt so bad. I'm like, there's no way this dude's going to be able to do what he's got to do with one arm.
Right.
And so I just sent him an email. I was like, hey, dude, if you need some help with anything, I'll help you. You ain't got to pay me none of this. I got your back, whatever. And then you went online and saw that I had hung out with Chad Sexton from 311.
Oh, man.
And then we were BFFs.
That was all it took.
That was all it took. Yeah.
That was all it took. After that, Allan brought me on. I was assisting him. And then, like I tell new agents coming on, make sure you shadow someone that's real busy because they're going to throw business your way.
Right.
And that's what launched my career, really, because after a year working with Allan, I was on my own. And boom, we blew up,
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just elaborate real quick because, this is amazing because, I have a long history with 311. I mean, like the mid-90s, late 90s, like we used to go on tour with them. They were like, we were like in love with 311. And then Richie sent me an email, and I've heard about Richie too because, you have to remember, Harry Norman Realtors, the average age of the realtor was like 75. We had agents who were still using like the typewriter, truly. And so there weren't like a lot of like young men, and Richie was there. And then he sent me that email, and I think I just kind of social media stalked him a little bit.
Right. Check him out.
Yeah, checked him out. Yeah. And I just saw these pictures of him and Chad Sexton, the drummer from 311. And it looked like he was in the band. I was like, oh my God, I love this guy. I need to hang out with him immediately. And then, our first lunch was at that Thai restaurant in Sandy Springs. And we talked pretty much all about music for the most part.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was our connection.
That's awesome.
And then, of course, it just kind of took off from there.
Yeah. It's meant to be, right?
Yep.
That's
Because we've been tight ever since.
That's right. Actually, the minute, I think it was the minute that I told you that I was leaving Harry Norman, we were going to a 311 concert.
We actually were going to a 311.
Were you really?
We really
Yeah.
were. I was all...
How cool is that? I just thought of that.
I didn't even put that together myself because Allan looks at me. He said, man, I got something to share with you. I'm like, all right, what's up? And I kind of intuitively felt he was fixing to say something about leaving because I think a few people had left because Miss Helen had passed away.
Right, I remember that.
And wherever Allan was going, I was going. It didn't matter to me. But I had my eyes on KW and had met with them. And then when Allan's like, I'm going to Dorsey, I was like, it broke my heart.
Right.
I was like, well, I guess I'm going to Keller Williams, and this is like, but we were going to a 311 concert. That's right. We've seen them at the Tabernacle.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So.
Sometimes that's just how it happens, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, the fact that you guys, met that way, that's so cool.
Still to this day, I mean, because the fact that he's with Keller Williams, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, we're still, our friendship hasn't changed. And
not at all.
Honestly, like, we still help each other out. He's co-opted a bunch of Dorsey Alston realtors in the past, 18 months.
Right.
And multiple offer situations, just like everything else. So he's called me or texted me, hey man, can you put in a good word for me? Recently, I had a co-op with some Keller Williams agents. That was Nancy and Bill and
Nancy. Yeah.
Richie turns out, of course, he's like best friends with them. Of
course. He's best friends with everybody.
He put in a great word for me, and it's just like we're still helping each other out.
Yeah.
It's so great. Like if there's a multiple offer situation with a Dorsey Alston agent.
Yep.
I automatically I want to know if they know Allan Mentor, right?
Well, of course.
And everybody's, oh man, I love Allan. And I'm like, Allan, can you send the text?
Got to name drop a little bit.
Yeah. Even if I didn't really know the person that well, like if I've met them once, of course I'm gonna say something. I gotta say something.
Same time.
It does.
Because they know automatically. I mean, if we're bringing the right offer to them, and then they get the word that we're easy to work with and we're going to get it closed. I mean, that's a win-win to me.
That's what they're looking for.
Every little bit helps.
You guys have such great reputations. I'm guilty. I do the same thing. I name drop you guys all the time. So if there's a we know that there's a Dorsey Alston listing agent. Hey, Allan Mentor? Oh, Allan's great. I'm like, hey, I've been working with Allan for 15 years. I said, you need a recommendation. You call Allan. He'll tell you what we're all about.
Yeah.
I mean, and same thing with you, Richie. I was talking to somebody at the KW Peachtree Road office just Friday. I'm like, Richie Torrance? Oh, yeah, we love Richie. We love Richie. So it's great. And you guys could actually help each other almost even more working at different brokerages. Because to your point, put a good word in for me. Let's get this offer accepted. And that's the market that we're in right now. It's just, speak to that right now. Just what do you think? It's just multiple offers. You might have 30, 40 offers on a property. How do you guys deal with that as agents?
Just real quick, I think you should do some more ragers every night. That voice is super sultry.
Well, all right, yeah. So this isn't my normal voice. I was at a rager last night. Good family friend graduated from high school, and it was loud, and I'm talking, and at the end of the night, my wife Allison's like, your voice doesn't sound too good. I'm like,
I think it sounds perfect.
Damn, I got this podcast tomorrow. I'm like,
it's perfect for the podcast. It's like smooth, easy listening jazz.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it. And up next,
that sounds really cool.
Richie Torrance and Allan Mentor.
I'm kind of jealous. I want that voice.
I'm gonna have you do the voiceovers for all my commercials.
There you go.
You want to go first about this market situation, or
sure? There's so many different markets within Atlanta, so every one of them's got their own set of circumstances and styles at this point. That sounded really cool. It's like, bam, drop the hammer on the guys.
Thor's hammer.
Because, for instance, multiple offers, and this is something I learned from Allan back in the day, because the multiple offer stuff was really getting going, from my experience, at the end of 2016 and 17. That's when it really started picking up. And I just never had a problem winning them,
right?
Because you got to have. I think it's kind of common sense. You got to have the best number, but you got to build the best relationships.
That's right.
And like we were just talking about, we co-op with each other's brokerages or whatever. But I've found that it's easy to win the offers if you've got the right number and if you can build the right relationship. However, at the same time, one of the big things these days is finding properties off market before they hit the market to be competitive, because by the time stuff hits the FMLS, a lot of times they're already pending. That's happened with me multiple times, So with this current market, it's people got to be willing to go ahead and pay. I know you're seeing this, Allan, 100,000 over list price in some situations, but what's fascinating about this market is there'll be one house, it hits the market and there's 30 offers and everybody's trying to fight over it. But then there's a house the same kind of style and there's crickets over there. I'm seeing that.
So you never know.
You never know.
Every house has a story. And they're all different, right?
But I think if a buyer's agent's going to make it in this market today, they got to know how to get the properties before they hit the market. You know, because a lot of our marketing now is just pure farming.
You're farming, and that way you're not having to compete with 30 other people, right? You're putting the work in ahead of time to try to find that property.
Absolutely.
Right.
All the stars have to be aligned with that situation, though, too, because you have to find, if it's off market, you got to find the seller who's willing to sell just to one buyer and not go to the open market. Right. And so that's a certain situation too, because a lot of people obviously like they want to test the market and see what the highest bid's going to be, but not everybody wants that. Right. If someone has like a newborn baby or whatever, like just one and done is very appealing to them.
Yep. Well, there's been a couple in my neighborhood. I hear through the grapevine, oh, that just sold. I'm like, I didn't see a sign.
And they're not not comps. It's not even public record because people don't know that they.
That's right. Yep. The last 2 or 3 hit, sold, didn't hit the market. Right. I'm thinking, why not test it? But then again, there's circumstances, right? They don't want traffic. They've got a personal circumstance where they don't want people trampling through their house. They don't want to deal with it.
Right.
They feel like they got a good offer. They're going to run with it sometimes.
Absolutely.
This industry has gone through such a we've been going through such a transition. I feel like in the past 5 years, with all these like iBuyer programs too, because that's appealing for a lot of these. I mean, you see these commercials on television. Just you sell your home to X, Y, and Z or whatever brokerage, and so there's a lot of kind of curveballs happening at the moment. And then of course you factor in the market's starting to shift a little bit as well.
Yep.
It's interesting. I mean, I feel like we're going to see some changes, to be honest with you. Some for the good, maybe some for the not so good.
Yeah. Well, some of these, again, to expand on these iBuyers, right? So these are the companies coming in saying, hey, we'll pay you cash for your house. Don't even hit the market. Don't list it.
I've never really been that worried about that because, so we all know Zillow has put a halt to that program. Right. It's done. And the same day that they announced that, they announced like thousands of layoffs too throughout the country. And then of course their stock crashed, so they were taking a hit. I mean, they were taking a bloodbath on almost every single transaction, every single property that they were buying. I mean, they were buying it, they were paying retail.
Right.
And then they were kind of like, whatever, fluffing it up and then putting it back on the market. They had to pay commission, closing costs, whatever.
Right.
That was not a profitable, model for them.
Right.
It was just, they were just gaining market share.
But I think someone like Zillow can afford to take that hit.
Of course. They're not going anywhere.
Open door. I mean, if this is just my experience, just from studying the FMLS, if you go, like sometimes I'll just go back and search properties that have been on the market for like 9 months, 10, so forth, right? 80% of them are open door properties, and it's not open door listings; it's open door owned properties, and they're just sitting and they're sitting and they're sitting
because they paid too much for them.
Yeah, there's some other things going on. I'm not sure if what we're talking about is like we're allowed to talk about it. I know there's some stuff going on, but it's just
let's get juicy.
The truth is, most realtors don't want to even show those properties because it's like a nightmare to deal with. It's like a 1-800 number. Oh, yeah. You literally have to show it like at an exact time frame. If not, then you're SOL, and it's not easy. And then I don't know how a homeowner would like to work with that program because a lot of times like you go and the door's already unlocked. And it's kind of sketchy.
Yep. So and on the lending side, having to deal with them, it's not easy. I mean, it's just everything's a day, 2 days later, and in this market, you got to move so fast.
Right, but the same time is too is like you don't ever want to be. You have to use an open mind too in our business because, quite frankly, I mean, we just sold one of my listings to Redfin. They were the buyer, and it was a smooth transaction.
Cool.
I mean, we sold it; it was fine. Like it was an as-is deal, and I mean, that was great. So it's obviously unorthodox, but we made it work. So
the times I've found it advantageous to use the iBuyer programs is when, like, we had a property in Brookhaven last year where this woman grew up in this house back in the 50s and the 60s. You walked in, it was a time capsule, right? Right. And people were coming to see it because, oh man, this is in Brookhaven. It's kind of a low price, but the actual iBuyer, I can't remember if it was an investment firm that came in, and they paid us $20,000 over what we wanted for it.
Wow.
And their pattern that I've seen is they come in, they give you this great price, and they come and try to beat you down for $20,000. Yeah, which is their model, and I respect that. But we ended up doing really well with that. But a lot of times, I don't even know if I can say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. But if I've got a listing that we got a lot of families looking at, we're not talking to investors. We're not accepting their offers. Right. Just not doing it.
I've seen that more now. Everybody's talking about all these Wall Street firms coming in, they're buying up all these houses, and then they're renting them out. It's like it's hard for people to get in and achieve the American dream, right?
It's
true.
So I've seen some listing agents saying, we chose your offer because we knew your customers
absolutely
were going to own or they're going to occupy it. They have a family, they have kids going to the schools. They wanted to sell.
Absolutely.
To owner occupants.
Absolutely.
And I think that's great.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're seeing that more and more, thank God.
Which is good. Because sellers are the ones who can call the shots, and so
True.
Some sellers don't care. It's truly about dollars and cents. They'll sell it to whoever. But some sellers, they really care about who ends up buying their home.
Yep.
So, owner occupants should have an edge.
Right.
Yep. Absolutely. I would say 9 times out of 10, it's people are more concerned with the right family getting the property.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. This is awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just been weird. This whole market's just been weird. I feel like we've just been in the Twilight Zone for the past 3 years. I mean, it's just, I feel weird. I feel everything's weird. It's like I've been winning a lot of contracts, which is great. So, but it's just like every contract that I'm winning, I have to coach my buyers and be like, look, if you really want this home, the answer is yes. Well, here's what you got to do to get it. And if you do this, and we still might not get it, but, and almost every single time I'm having that conversation, it's like, you got to remove, no due diligence, no financing contingency, no appraisal contingency. I mean, you got to really go in.
Right.
And that's a weird conversation to have.
Very weird.
I mean, so we're having those conversations, and of course, we win the contract, which is great, but I still encourage them to get the inspection because
they want to know what they're walking into.
Absolutely. And if they have $20,000 earnest money on the line, if the inspection turns out to be a complete nightmare where the home's going to, fall through the earth tomorrow, then they might decide to forfeit their $20,000.
Right.
And that sucks too. But
But I think having the honest conversations with people is important. I mean, because if you're in Alpharetta and there's going to be 50 people looking at this house, you have to coach them. You have to tell them exactly what you think it's going to take to get that contract.
So we have this closing tomorrow, Michael and I, and this is a property that was listed it's in Alpharetta. It's listed for $725.
Yep.
Our sales price is $880. We barely got it.
Barely, right?
Understood.
I mean, yeah.
Understood.
And you're talking well over $100,000 over.
We barely got it.
Yep. And the appraisal was somewhere between list and contract, right? And that was one of those things where buyer knew, hey, look, probably not going to appraise. You're going to be bringing X amount to close. But at the end of the day, it's like, when they've been looking, and that was perfect. It was the perfect home, perfect location, and it checked all the boxes.
He's a good buyer too because he's coming from the Seattle market too, which I think Seattle is actually going through more of an insane market than we are, and so the buzz is out. He knows.
Yep. Well, I remember, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, I met with somebody who worked with Amazon out in Seattle. And they were allowing, people to come work from home, and they were moving out here because people were bidding $200,000 and $300,000 over. This was 4 or 5 years ago. Wow. And so I was talking to a friend of mine at Zillow, Denver's. I mean, there's so many markets experiencing this, but ours is still affordable, and everything's relative, right?
That's right.
I mean, because I've been working with a lot of people from California and New York, and they're like, "Oh, $100,000? No, that's nothing.
We'll do it.
It's nothing."
Exactly.
That's interesting. He's an Amazon executive. That's why he said that.
That's right.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I agree with 100%. But at the same time, it's like there's another side of that coin too, where a lot of people are feeling that the market homes are not affordable anymore. And there's a lot of resentment about what's happening right now too, and I get that as well. That's coming, and that's not just coming from home buyers; it's coming from people who are just renting.
Oh yeah,
it's like all across the board, everyone's getting hit.
Everybody,
everything's
not fair.
Prices have gone up. No, it's not fair. Rent's at an all-time high just this past month.
That's right.
Yeah, so
rent inflation is higher than the home appreciation.
So we can say, it's easy for us because we've been in the game for so long. Atlanta is an affordable market compared to most markets, but at the same time, when you talk on a grassroots level to some of the the Gen X, some of the 20-something-year-olds. Some people are pissed off.
Yeah.
Right.
And
rightfully so. I mean, because it may be affordable to people that are coming from Chicago and New York, et cetera. But what about our local? What about the Atlanta economy? It's not affordable.
Right. You graduate school and you get a $50,000 a year job. That doesn't, if you have a student loan or a small car loan or something like that, that doesn't go that far.
It's really hard.
It really doesn't. So, I'm seeing some of the first-time home buyers that have a limited, affordability range, going townhomes, condos, a little bit easier to get under contract. As long as the HOA fees aren't crazy, we're seeing that a little bit more. So, but yeah, it's. So, what shift do you see? So, if we look at end of this year, we're in May, right? So, the rest of this year into next, what kind of shift do you see?
I feel it happening as we're speaking.
Absolutely.
Like literally this week. I'm seeing it now.
Absolutely.
I feel like there was a great listing that I showed in Morningside that just hit the market, and we're conditioned to have that sense. Oh, it's going to be in a contract tomorrow. It's still on the market. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a beautiful home. It's one of the best neighborhoods in Atlanta, and it's still there.
After how many days?
It's been 8.
That's an eternity.
I know, exactly. And that's what I'm saying.
It sounds like leverage for a buyer.
That's it.
But you kind of feel
Hardly 8 days.
You feel it happening a little bit, and we're starting to see more listings hit the market. Rates are going up, so there's a lot happening that's kind of contributing to that.
Yeah. Well, and I can speak to that too a little bit on the rate side, right? Because rates they're up 2.5 percentage points since the beginning of the year.
I heard yesterday that they might go up to 7% by the end of this year. Is that?
They could.
You feel that way?
They're probably depending. There's so many different criteria, but if we're in the mid 5s right now, I think a lot of people are just shocked by that. And I think the key, what we saw was the run up was so fast, right, from January to today. It was just a quick run up. Actually, the quickest run up I think in history
since 1993 at least. Yeah.
And I always tell the story, so I try to keep it in perspective. I don't know if they're going to 7. We'll see. I don't know. They've sort of been steady for a little while. And when I say a little while, I'm talking like a week, 10 days, right? They haven't had sudden moves. But I always tell the story. Back in 1998, my wife and I were building a small home in East Cobb, and we hadn't locked yet. We were like, rates were in the mid 8s at that point. If we can time it perfectly, I think we can get in the 7s. Wouldn't that be amazing? We timed it perfectly. We locked at 7.875 in 1998. I called Alston. I said, "You won't believe it." I said,
"Wow,
we did it. We locked under 8, and we thought we hit jackpot."
Right,
absolutely,
that was amazing. So I also tell people, it's perspective.
That was 1997.
That was in 1998.
98. Yeah, interesting.
They were right in that 8% range.
That's good.
And they were coming down. So the rates that were in the 2s and the 3s, that wasn't real. It was suppressed. The government was throwing so much money into the system to artificially suppress those. The people took advantage of them, great, but it just wasn't real. So you've had many, many more decades in the 5s and the 6s and the 7s and the 8s than you had in the 2s and 3s. So I just try to just show that, hey, perspective, they're still in a fairly good range.
Agreed.
That's the key.
I think so. This whole investment boom that we've been seeing, where it's like everyone's an investor, everyone's buying property, and then they're either doing Airbnb or VRBO because the money's so cheap, so they're getting positive cash flow. I think that market, that boom is going to calm down, and I'm already starting to see that. I've had two investors get out of the game just this past week. Yeah, so I feel like that's going to slow down, and then the bidding wars, they're still going to happen. It's just. As opposed to someone getting 10 offers, they make it 3 or 4. It's going to slow down.
But I think even behind the scenes, a lot of these properties you hear, they're 20, 30, 40 offers. I guarantee you that 80 to 90% of those are 2 to 5 offers at the most. Because I've seen that firsthand.
Oh, wow.
I just see it,
Just people exaggerating. Yeah.
I've been there when we got 35 or 40. It's just by that point, you just got to pick 2 or 3 that are very competitive and shut it down. But I want to say something to the interest rates that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Think about it. Our parents, they were excited when they got 15%.
Oh, 15, 14, they were top notch. If you were in the mid-teens, right, or low teens, that was in the 80s, right? So
sure, late 70s and 80s, yeah.
Yep. And so again, it is all perspective, and we just got to keep that in mind. And but again, people are used to what they're used to. Right, and if you're used to rate, if you graduate school and your friends are getting rates in the 2s and the 3s, and now they're in the 5s, it's like, oh, shoot, what happened?
Right.
Well, reality, you know.
I've got a question for y'all because I got in the game in 2014, and you all were in the game back when the recession. I mean, back when the big crash of '08 happened. What was that like?
I still have like
Flashbacks.
PTSD from that.
Okay, sore subject.
PTSD. I think Alex has a sound for something like that.
That's,
You got a doom and gloom sample
you
over
want me
there?
to talk a little bit about it first? Or you want to go?
Michael and I became friends shortly after that time frame. It's like actually right when the market started to kind of like recover, 2011-ish.
10, 11, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and but from the market crashed, quote unquote, in October of 2008. And I mean, I'll never forget when it happened. I think it was like we were closing on my sister's home on Mount Perrin Parkway, and it was like that day. It's like the market like crashed.
Yep.
I mean, I'll never forget it. And
it just crashed.
It did. I mean, that's when
That was probably
Lehman Brothers.
went.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everything started happening all at once. And I was building my home. I mean,
Is this the one in
the home that we're living in right
okay.
now.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it was like we haven't even gotten the certificate of occupancy, and I mean, it was a construction site, and it was just I've never experienced that sort of financial stress ever in my life, and I just felt, there was a brief moment in time where I literally felt like I was gonna have to like run away,
I
like
remember
move to like Mexico or something, you know?
Really?
And like, yeah, just like leave all my debtors behind.
Like, I'm out of here.
Yes, I mean, I promise you, like I had those like visions. Thank God I was able to get this. Like I finally got the call from my lender. Like I was able to get this like cash out refinance. I was probably like one of the last ones to get it.
Yep, probably.
Right, I was able to get like $70,000 or $75,000 back that I put into this property, and it was just such a relief. So that helped big time.
Yep.
And then I was able to just kind of hang on with my fingernails, and I was coaching tennis at the time, so I was coaching more alts teams, I was coaching more private lessons, and I was doing like a lot of rentals, and I was selling a lot of foreclosures and short sales. 1 out of 3 transactions was either a short sale or a foreclosure.
You remember those days?
I remember those days.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, 1 out of 3, and that's a legit stat.
Oh, yeah.
So if you weren't selling foreclosures or short sales, you weren't selling real estate.
You weren't selling anything.
Yeah,
When people were buying houses then, were they much cheaper?
absolutely.
Oh,
2010 was like the bottom of the barrel market.
Like what would like a decent foreclosure, like the market that you're working now, like what would that have been price-wise then?
I mean, probably let's just say like a $700,000 home was probably like $350 back then.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps even lower, depending
Perhaps
on
even lower, right.
how much of a bath the lender was going to take.
And then so you take all of this and add on the fact that the average time frame for closing on a short sale was like 6 months.
It was
So,
Really?
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not like a 30-day close. I mean, it was such a long, drawn out time frame. So it's just like, you know, if you could sell a home in 6 months, you throw a party.
Oh, yeah.
Now, and that's why it's just like that's why I feel like we're in the twilight zone right now. It's
Right.
just like
People panicking after 4 days.
right.
Oh, exactly. It was just such a different time, and my perspective on it was I was running a company. It was my own company. We were self-employed, so we were, you know, I mean, all the stuff was rolling down the hill. So when the loans went bad, they came ultimately to us because the borrowers were, you know, bankrupt, foreclosed on. It came down to us. So it was a really, to your point, I remember on a vacation, it was a family vacation. It's like I probably shouldn't have been going, but I'm like, I need to get out of Dodge because I'm going to go crazy here. And I remember walking down the beach with my wife thinking, what else can I do? I'm like, I don't know anything else.
Right.
I mean, I graduated school, college. I started my business. I don't know anything
I'm
else.
with you, man. I was looking at nursing school.
I was like, what else can I do?
Absolutely.
Wow,
I went to
nursing
Kennesaw
school.
State. Yeah, I went to
You learn
Kennesaw
something
State.
new every day.
And didn't you have like a team of 100 lenders under you at that
Well,
point?
at our peak, we had about 100 employees. Now, at that time, because the market
That's
deteriorated.
totally gangster, man.
Yeah, it was. We had
That's gangster.
we had some good times. That was a lot of fun back then.
I bet it was. It was
a lot
printing
of,
money over there.
It was a
Michael
lot of
is
fun.
a gangster.
He is a total gangster.
He is.
I might not look like one. Thanks, Alex.
There you go. Finally, we got some sound over there.
But man, I'm so happy to get out of that. But I will say this: when people say, "Are we back in that same time?" I'll just tell you. I can
no
tell
way.
you.
I
I
don't
can
think
tell you
so.
this: the loans right now are so much better credit quality. The appraisals are super tight, and you know, I mean, if anything, they're probably a little too tight. But you know, there's controls, there's anti-fraud measures. people's balance sheet. People have savings. You know, we're making sure that they can afford the property. Inventory right now is at what, 1 month?
Right, 30 days.
Back in 08?
Not even 30 days.
Yeah. Back in 08, inventory was 11 months of home inventory. So
that's the biggest difference.
Totally different market.
So you know, we'll have some slowdowns, et cetera, but that's the thing. Like, you know, there's no bubble to be crashed because there's no surplus of inventory.
Right.
You have to have a surplus of inventory for a market to like truly crash.
Right.
We still have a shortage of inventory, so we'll see some slowdowns.
Yeah.
You know, but I feel just grateful because during that time frame, you know, a lot of it was subprime lending and like subprime lending. Like that was always like everyone like looked down at that, and like basically whoever was involved in that was like shady and like they weren't ethical and et cetera, et cetera. I'm grateful and proud to say during all of that time frame, I had one client who got a subprime loan.
Wow.
And he's still in that home.
Is it real?
Never got foreclosed on. Yeah, exactly. I mean, so like that's pretty cool.
He wrote it out.
Yeah, he wrote it out.
And if you could ride it out, you're fine. You know, if you can't, you know, that's when you get in trouble.
I think I had one client that I'm sure I had more, but one client that I remember because it was personal, like he was a friend of mine, that he just like walked away from his note, you know. And I you know, of course you feel guilty. Like I sold him the home, and I think it was like 12 months later, he's like, I'm out.
Well, if you took out a mortgage for $300 and it's worth $150, you're like, my gosh, how long is it going to take me to get back to zero?
Right. And he lost his job. I mean, he just walked away.
Yeah.
Well, we almost started flipping houses back then. When I say almost, my buddy was in the lending side, and you know, my family, they're builders, so you know,
down the range.
Yeah, we could get like, because we own part of a material supply company, we could get like materials at cost and labor at cost. And my buddy's like, we need to just go start flipping these houses. I was like, that's a genius idea. Let's do that. And I remember going to my dad. My dad looked at me and he pulled his glasses down. He said, son, when it's too good to be true, trust me, it's fixing to collapse. You watch. And shortly thereafter, it collapsed. I was like, thank you, Daddy. He was like,
the best advice you could ever get.
Because, you know,
stay
we
away.
see people that are our age that are still millions of dollars in debt from what happened in 08 and 09.
Yep.
It's like, man. But anyway,
But we learned, I mean, the industry changed dramatically. I mean, we learned a lot. I mean, lenders did. I mean, you know, totally different time, I think.
Yeah, and that's one of the, you know, when I said earlier, I feel like there's going to be some good and some bad that comes out of what's going to happen in this market. You know, we've been going through this just like gold rush, right? In real estate, and like the buzz has been out. Everyone's making money in real estate. Like it's so easy, et cetera, et cetera. So like everyone's a realtor now. I mean,
oh yeah, we've seen
it's just like, you know, it's like, it was a couple of years ago, it was like the new industry was like, you know, being a life coach. Like everyone's a life coach. You know, now it's like, now it's like everyone's getting the real estate license, and great for that. And like, you know, the thing is like, I fully support that, you know, and if I have a friend or a client who's getting a real estate, I'm like, cool, like whatever you need, like, let me know. Cause I want to help them. And I, you know, so this is not, this is just a generalization, but like, you know, this is not sustainable. We have more realtors out there than we do than we do homes on the market to sell.
Wow.
And that's throughout the whole country. It's like the first time in history that's happened.
Really?
Yes. So when the market shifts, to be honest with you, like, you know, the failure rate right now is like 85% after 12 months. Like that failure rate's going to be higher.
Oh yeah.
And so you're going to start seeing a lot of these like realtors who thought that the game was so easy that they were going to be a millionaire overnight. They're going to, you know, get out of the business too. Right. So. Yeah. No, and that's the thing. Like, I hate to say that. I'm not knocking anybody because I want everybody. I want everyone to succeed. But this is not sustainable.
Right.
You know.
Yep.
I was teaching a class at KW the other night, and I told everybody it was all new agents. I'm like, if you're getting in the market at this point, and you can make it through and be successful. I mean, that's huge.
Agreed.
And there's a lot of good talent out there too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good talent.
Agreed, 100%.
So,
Do you think it's harder to get started now than it was 10 years ago?
I do.
yeah, definitely.
100%.
Is there any?
It's harder to get started now than I think it's ever been at this point in time.
Yeah, because if you're getting started, you're generally a buyer's agent.
Yeah.
And it's tough to be a buyer's agent right now. And if you're trying to get listings, that's usually a more of a mature thing that you're getting, is a more of a mature realtor. And those are hard to get.
Right.
Right?
I mean, I was telling everybody the other night, you always get your first ones from your family and your friends.
Family and friends.
You only have so many of those to go around.
That's
and
right.
You got to have the name, the recognition.
Not me, man. I got my first transaction with some woman. She was a divorcee who I just met her. And it was just such a...
But that's because you're such a stud.
it was a fluke.
Like, I want to work with Allan.
It was an absolute fluke. But I say that, I'm sure I'm the exception of the rule. But I had like one friend in Atlanta, truly. And he ended up buying a home like through someone else, like a Century 21 agent. And I was like so pissed.
Are you still friends?
He's passed away.
Oh,
so sorry. That's not to, but but he actually ended up selling his first home with me.
Got it.
Yeah, we kissed and made up. But that stung.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
I tell you the way it is easier for new agents to get in if they understand, the whole social media and how to become more of like the level of an influencer.
Yep.
If you can, contribute a lot of your time and your efforts towards that model, you can move up the ranks pretty fast.
It's a matter of who knows you, right? I mean, that's the key.
Do you think that's more important than building like a strong group around you? Like right now, is it more important to utilize social media and that marketing aspect, or is it to make the small connections within your city?
I think that there's no real right answer to this. I think some people thrive better with social media. Yep. And some people like myself thrive better with like personal connections, like grassroots. I've always, my mentor was Phoebe Etheridge, who's actually,
I know Phoebe.
She's amazing. Yeah. And so she told me straight up, she's like, I'm going to be the worst mentor for you because I've never called a for sale by owner. I've never knocked on a door. I've never called an expired listing. And to me, like this was 20 something years ago. I was like, that's how I want to be.
You're like, I like that.
I want to be like her.
Right.
Because she just had this like aura to her, and definitely. Like she's had a lot of tragedy in her life, but like she was always glowing.
Yeah.
Everyone just always loves her, and like that, I'm like, that's how I want to be.
Right.
Is
just
it like
word of mouth business,
like a keep moving forward mentality, where it's
Absolutely.
not like you're just constantly trying to check back in, but more
she was just the most positive, like radiant energy, like just nothing can bring me down kind of realtor.
One thing I've noticed about both of you, and your customers are your friends. And I've said this before when I was doing a little interview for Allan, and you're the same way. You're playing music, you're playing drums, you're big. You're both in the music. And you're friends. Like when I come to Stella's birthday party, like I'll see all of my customers because they're your friends, and your customers are your friends, right? It's not a transaction for you guys. It's truly you're helping your friends. And if you happen to get a referral and you meet them, most of the time they're going to turn into your friend, your next friend. I mean, that's which.
Do you think that's kind of required in today's market to be successful?
No, I don't think so. I know there are some realtors who are very successful who are they're like the pit bull type agents,
transactional, just churn and burn.
They're badass, but like they don't become friends with anybody.
Right. I mean, they don't have time. They don't want to.
Right. And more power to them.
Yeah.
Well, something I see, because I'm a very religious, spiritual person. I look at the spiritual dimensions of everything, but I see it play out so much in real estate because, they say what you focus on expands. Well, it's the truth. I mean, like you attract your people, you attract your tribe.
That's right.
That's why, most of my clients are from the music industry or from the entertainment industry, and we have similar, perspectives. Sure. And it's not like I went out and searched for them. They just became part of my circle, and that's who comes to me.
Right. They know what you do. They trust you. They like you. They want to help you.
It's the law of attraction.
Exactly.
That's how I look at it.
Agreed.
So switching topics just a little bit, how do you stay grounded? So outside of real estate, like talk a little about like what you've got coming up with your adventures, and we'll talk about your music here in a minute, but like your trips, your climbing, talk a little bit about what you do just to escape the real estate game for a while, just to reset.
Yeah, good question. It's funny because like the more you talk to realtors right now in this environment, the more you feel like the burnout. I mean, it's happening to everybody.
Yeah.
And it's okay to talk about. I think it's probably therapeutic for a lot of people, and it's not good to like just keep things in because that way you're just gonna like crash.
Right.
So I always tell like the new agents and like my friends, I burn out probably 3 or 4 times a year. It's just like keep the burnouts manageable and just make sure they're small burnouts and have something set for that. And so like I try and climb one big mountain every year. And so this year I'm going to Bolivia. I'm going to climb 3 peaks, and I'm excited. And it's something to look forward to. And there's no Wi-Fi on these mountains. You know what I mean? And like that's one of the appeals to me, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It truly that's one of the appeals. So there's no Wi-Fi on these mountains, and I'm gonna it's something to look forward to.
Is it kind of like a forced reset? You put yourself in like an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't get away and check your phone. Like you're on a mountain, and
that's awesome.
It's pretty great. So
how long are you going to be there?
I'll be in Bolivia for 2 weeks.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
very nice.
So I love to have things to look forward to.
Yep.
And like to me, it's like it's rewarding because I love the mountains. I like to be able to like accomplish something. So it's like making the summit is like one of the best experience you can ever imagine. You know, awesome. And it's cool. It's cool. Nice to have little things to check off the list.
Yep.
Very
cool. Very cool.
Can I go with you on this trip? I'll be your assistant.
You can put me in your backpack.
I'll stay at the hotel and you take care of all your calls and stuff.
The hotel's on the mountain.
That's it. The tenant.
Yeah.
Are they going to be? Are they going to clip you on the side of the mountain? Like I've seen those little like I don't know the hammocks that like are literally on the side of the mountain. Is that
no
you?
way I could do that.
No, those are like the 90-degree type. Okay. This is not one of those 90-degree mountains.
Got it.
And I'll be roped up probably more than likely on like summit day.
Right.
So we'll see. But I'm going solo, but I'm climbing with truly like some of the best climbers in the world.
Wow.
So it's just I'm not really that concerned about it.
Yeah.
I'm in good hands.
Good hands, good leaders.
Yeah.
You want to plug those guys? Do you know their Instagram or anything? The name?
Topo, Esteban, Carla Perez. She's the first and only South American woman to ever climb Everest in K2 without oxygen.
Wow.
They're badass. Yeah.
Jeez. Now you've climbed with them before?
Yeah.
Okay. Same crew.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm too scared of heights.
And
just live it vicariously.
Well, you rock the drums. I mean, what do you do when you reach that point? That's therapeutic for you, right?
Let's see. This is something I've really worked on a lot for the past couple of years, because I have a tendency back in the day just to run, yep. And to just get so exhausted and burn out, shut down from the world for a week, and just like watch Netflix. But that's just not. I mean, I love doing stuff like that, but for me, it all comes back to the music, because all of our marketing, everything is around music. Because,
sure.
I don't know, because when you can do what you're passionate about, of course, I'm passionate about real estate. It's just a different type of
passion.
But being able to tie those two worlds together, has just made it a lot of fun.
Awesome.
And what I do as far as to avoid burnout, I'm very specific. Like I work 6 days a week. On the seventh day, it's not a religious thing with me. I just don't do anything. I shut the phone off. I shut everybody. I just shut everything down. Yeah. And that helps. And, you get in those periods where you sometimes do have to work that seventh day. But
absolutely.
I'll, I guess my main thing would be music or coming up with some new music project or, getting in the studio with some past clients and making some music with them. Because we're actually doing music video commercials for me coming up. We're actually about to hit the studio to do it, but it's all past clients that I do it with.
That's awesome.
So I guess that's one of the ways I keep from burning out, but I have to watch it and be careful, make sure I'm exercising regularly, at least 3 times a week.
Yep.
Because I don't know, it's so easy to burn out in this industry.
Absolutely.
And the people around you don't understand it when you're on vacation. Like, why can't you just turn that phone off? You know how it is. An offer comes in on a property that's been sitting for a minute or something. You got to get it under contract so you can get back to the beach and chill. But
that's right.
But also I've got a very powerful team coming in that's starting in a couple of weeks. That's really gonna I'm learning how to leverage and just like give things away and not try to do everything because that's hard.
That's super important.
I have a hard time communicating what I need done. But I've really been working on that for the past 6 weeks. How to be a better leader and use that leverage.
You're so right.
Delegate, right?
Absolutely. Yep. I mean, we're a little different. Richie's got a team. I'm solo, but it's.
And he still outperforms me.
No,
you've got help though. Contract.
Absolutely. No, I mean that's what I was about to say. So I have a contract to closing coordinator, and thankfully she's provided by Dorsey, Alston, Realtors. I mean, it's a great service, but I have some really good friends who are licensed agents who. They're really good at what they do.
Yep.
And we went to Costa Rica for 11 days in April 1st. And my friend Hillary, I mean, she negotiated 2 contracts while I was gone. I mean, she's amazing. You know, she comes from a corporate background, and I mean, so like I always feel very confident, you know, with who's looking after my business while I'm away.
Right.
That's how I learned.
Yeah. It's the best way to learn. I think.
Totally.
It's kind of like baptism by fire. Truly.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I've seen some agents, and I work with some. They're working like 60, 65 hours a week, and I'm
that's
like,
part-time.
And it's part-time. And I'm like, you got to take some personal. I mean, you're going to just burn out,
right.
or relationships, or
right.
That's what happens. That's when people get divorced and have bad relationships with the kids because they're never around. So I've been a really big proponent of leverage, and you know, I take my calls on the weekends. I took one yesterday at 6 p.m. on Saturday, but you know, they needed me. But I'm real big with. I delegate everything that I can that my team can do. I think 80% as well as I can, and that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is. So you know. Trying to work that 40-hour week and just try, you know, I can't always shut it off completely on the weekends, but I don't miss stuff, right? I've always been a big proponent of, I want to be at my son's baseball games.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to be present.
That's more important.
Right? For my wife, Alston,
agreed.
for my kids, because that's the key. Family is number one, at least in my book. It's got to be number one. And, you know, delegate, let other people help out.
You're right. It's tricky because it's hard having the conversation with like the new agent who's got a family. Because it's hard for me to relate to that because when I was new, I was a complete bachelor who like literally didn't know anybody, and like I had my dogs, you know. Right,
and they understand, they get it.
the dogs understood. Actually, they didn't really understand. Guinness, he didn't like it. But I mean, I was out there like chasing people down. You know, I mean, I was like running people down, like trying to get business. Like
that's what you do when you're a rookie.
Yeah, I didn't have that luxury. You know, so it's like. So it's weird for me to have these conversations with like, you know, they're friends of mine too, who are like just getting the business and they have a family. Because it's just like, what do you do? Yeah. I mean, because to me, like, you know, spending time with my family is, of course, that's like my number one priority. But if you're going to start out in this business, it's almost like owning a restaurant. You got to like live in the kitchen for 2 or 3 years.
That's right.
And so it's a hard conversation to have.
Totally. But I've also seen like, it's a good friend of mine, Richard Beeman. Yeah. Right. Oh, okay. When you keep things in order like that, keeping your family first, your business will flourish.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And Richard does a really good job with that. He really does. Because
I used to call him all the time in the middle of something like, "Hey, yo, Richard." He's like, "I'm with my family. I'm not talking business right now." And I always was like, "How does he do that?" And you watch it, but I've been around him for 15 years. Yep. He keeps things in order. It's discipline. God and family. Yeah. That business is down there somewhere else, and he's very successful with it.
Absolutely.
You know, but I've noticed when I put my work first, then all the relationships, you know, start getting a little sideways. Now, my family are workaholics, so they're like, "Oh, that's adorable, Richie. You're working 78 hours a week. That's a Torrance way, you know." But
the Torrance way.
That is the Torrance way. But at the same time, you know, it's so important to just have that balance and that love and that fellowship with your family.
Well, and having a family that supports you, right? You know, Anna, I know, supports you. My wife, Alston, is huge. I mean, she is the best. Like, and her father was a mortgage banker for like 40 years.
He gets
Kenny. He's awesome. But she gets it, right? She understands, you know, some years are going to be good. Some years are going to be rough. Some years are going to be amazing. You just don't know. And you just, you know, you got to serve your clients. So she is super supportive. So I think that's really, you know, that's helped me tremendously.
It's something I've had to learn because, you know, when I started off, I was, you know, the bachelor doing whatever, you know, just having a good time, playing music, doing real estate, whatever, you know, and as you get into, you know, like my fiance, she's very supportive. It was some adjusting, you know, because she's coming from the medical field where hers is at the hospital. And when she gets home,
she's done.
She's done. Yeah. Sort of. I mean, because she works at Grady, so she deals with people that are at death's door all the time, so it's still weighing on her heart and her mind.
Right.
But when I'm getting calls from California at 11:30 at night, you know, to submit this offer, she just, it took a minute to get adjusted, you know.
Is she getting adjusted pretty well?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good. That's really cool.
Very supportive.
Yeah. I got a quick question for you guys. So this is like a kind of a trending question right now on TikTok, but what do you think there's more of in the world, either wheels or doors?
I got an answer for that. There's more doors because the doors are universal. Jim Morrison, he'll never go away. So there's always doors.
That's what I thought of when I heard it. Jim Morrison.
I'm just trying to think of how this is like a trending topic.
Well, you got to think about it. Like
on TikTok,
are there more wheels or doors in the world? Like on average, you think?
doors.
These are the kind of things that scare me for the future. Like how this is like a trending topic right now. Like
We could do the.
At least it's not Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Oh, that's true. Exactly.
Something positive.
Yeah, true.
We could talk about Johnny Depp, right?
Man,
Yeah, sure.
is this stale right now? Is that what's happening?
No. We have about 10 minutes left, so I just wanted to throw out some random topics.
Well, is there another random topic that you want to throw out? Because I don't like that one.
That's a weird one, huh?
Let's get Michael
I'm
Anthony
sorry,
to sing something.
Love me 2 times.
There was just like no discussion at all. I was just like, no.
Now I have the Doors in my head, which is great. I love the Doors.
That was for you, Allan.
I wanted our intro song to be Peace Frog, but I just thought too late. So darn. Next time.
That's
we gotta license these songs. You know,
Yeah, true.
they'll kick us off the World Wide Web. Yeah, they're not gonna appreciate our podcast if we start taking.
So one shout out, I have to mention. So tomorrow is my 24th anniversary. So Alston and I will be married 24 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. Yeah.
She's the best. Love you, Alston, if you're watching this.
Aw, that's
Nice.
awesome.
And
Number
great
one
man.
fan.
And so next year's 25. So we're talk about doing something to like look forward to. We were thinking about like we got to do something like big. Let's just do something cool. So we just booked a Mediterranean cruise next year for 2 weeks. Stopping at some the Greek islands,
Oh, that's gonna
Italy.
be so.
I mean, it's
Hashtag how you doing?
awesome. 2 weeks.
It's gonna be epic.
2 weeks. 15 years ago, my wife would be like, "You're going to take 2 weeks off work? What? Like,
Good
who
for
is
you.
this guy?"
Right.
But like, you know what? Screw it. You only
Right.
live once, right?
Right.
We're gonna have an awesome time. So
That's awesome.
Next July, so we're looking forward to it.
And Michael just turned 50 too.
I know.
A lot
Can you
of big
believe
things
that?
this year.
He looks like he's like 27.
I know, right?
But he sounds like he's 80.
I know my voice. Darn it! That rager last night.
I love the
50.
new
Can you
voice,
believe it?
though.
Yeah.
I feel like mine's starting to go on me all of a sudden.
If you hang around me enough, it'll go. This is not my normal voice, but hey,
The rager.
Yeah, I know 50. It's sort of like it's a milestone, right? You guys are
Yeah.
you guys aren't even close to that. So
45.
Do you guys invest in
44.
crypto at all? Is that a thing for you guys at all? Alan, you do?
Alan, you're in it, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I haven't yet. I've been looking at it, but just
Yeah.
I don't quite understand it. I mean, I know what it is. I just I think somebody said if you can't explain it to your mom or your grandma, maybe you shouldn't buy it.
I can't explain it to my mom or my grandma either. And
Everything's moving digitally. Like even like ownership of things is moving digitally.
I think that I think Mark Cuban, is that his name?
Yep.
I think he said something like, I feel like everyone should have like 10% invested in crypto. And I'm like, I think that's a pretty good mindset. Like, so
Right.
it's like literally, it's like, put a little bit here,
Have
see if it takes off.
Have some exposure to it, and if it blows up,
My wife and I both did it pretty much at the same time. We've been buying it at the same time. And we started out, I think, in January of this year. And overall, it's been great, but it's such a roller coaster.
Right.
And so I was just like, I try not to even like look at it because
It's money
fluctuates so much.
It's money that you just have to put there.
Right.
And if you can afford to lose it, you can afford to
Right.
lose it because it could be 100
Agreed.
times deal. and
Yeah,
then
it could work out great. It could not work out great.
Yeah.
But if you ask me to explain it, no.
The
And
blockchain.
If you ask me to explain like NFTs, like no, I'm not going to.
Kevin O'Leary, he says the same thing, that you should diversify your portfolio with some crypto.
Yeah.
Because it is a bit of a roller coaster, but it shoots up very quickly.
Right.
And it is the future, like regardless of what's going on right now.
Are you a crypto dealer, Alex?
I'm not a crypto dealer, but I do think it's very interesting.
Oh, it's fascinating, and I think there's definitely a place for it for sure.
Agreed.
Diversification, just like anything, real estate should be a part of your portfolio. I think, stocks, bonds, crypto. I mean, if you have a diversified portfolio,
Yep.
right, and one's up, one's it's cyclical. So I think it's
Right.
important.
I understand real estate, but I don't know anything about crypto. But I've got a couple of friends. I've got one friend that got into it back in the 2007, 2008, and he's done obviously incredibly well. Smart dude, period. But, but I always pay attention to my friends that are always kind of light years ahead of them on things.
Sure.
And some of these friends are light years ahead on things. I just don't understand it. I don't know. I saw a listing the other day where they were asking for to be paid in Bitcoin.
I think you sent me
I saw that
one
about.
said
I saw
crypto
about
accepted.
I saw about a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got a friend in Miami he's on the front lines of it. I mean, he's starting like NFT, like real estate transactions. And it's just so it's like
Crazy.
He started a company and like he's crushing it right now.
Wow.
That's really
So
cool.
he's always thinking like futuristic type. He's like an Elon Musk type brain. So
amazing.
we'll see. I feel like we got enough stuff to worry about right now. Real estate, selling physical property is like hard enough.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just trying to focus on that, you know.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of cool to think like buying real estate in like the metaverse or something. Like, what does that even mean?
I don't
But
understand that.
What do you guys think about Elon Musk buying Twitter?
I just don't really care that much about it. I just don't.
I've never tweeted, so yeah, it doesn't matter to me.
I'm not on Twitter either. I think I have an account, but I don't think I've used it. But you know what?
Well, just, I mean,
he's a genius. I mean,
even
good for him.
if you don't use it, like, do you think it?
Yeah,
like,
but isn't he backing out on it though?
well, there was like some contingencies, I think, that like they weren't able to like agree on, but I think they're still on the table about.
I think it
reaching
was
an agreement.
I think they said they had about in the SEC filings. They said they have about 5% fake accounts. He thinks it's closer to 20 or 30% of all the accounts are fake.
Yeah.
So he's buying based on accounts and people
I think
viewing
they're-
tweets.
They're running like tests to see how many bots are on there.
Yeah, but I mean, the guy's a genius, right? So I mean, who would second guess anything that guy does? It wouldn't be me.
Yeah, me.
I wouldn't second guess him.
I don't know. I do. I second guess him. I'm
Really?
sorry.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not trying to be like the what do you call it? The antagonist or protagonist? What am I right now? Yeah. Devil's advocate?
Yeah,
I just
it's okay. Hey,
I'm
everybody's got their
not a
opinion.
huge fan.
You think you just?
I mean, I think he's done some great
glorified?
things. I think he's definitely glorified. He's romanticized by. I mean, people like worship him, and I'm just like,
Yeah, he like says something on Twitter and like stocks go up and down.
I'm just.
He smoked weed on Joe Rogan and
I don't.
it's like all of Tesla's
Yeah.
stock.
I don't really see it.
Yeah.
I think something you and I could agree on is the fact that John Frusciante's back with the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
That's pretty cool.
That's important.
That's
innovative.
We're talking about some important stuff, right?
Yeah, that's important.
Seriously,
Come on,
man.
Alex, you got to change up your questions here, buddy.
Just keep it all music related.
Yeah. Elon Musk, crypto, that's not my thing. Twitter, I've never tweeted.
No.
I've honestly never tweeted either, but I do keep up with like the financial world just to see like what's going on there. But
We'll see. The
just keep up with my
the future's going to be interesting. I think the next like 5 to 6 years is going to be it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Absolutely. So we'll do another podcast in 5 or 6 years, and then we'll compare these two together.
I don't know. I like this. I want to start doing this every week.
Every week,
I love
man.
this.
This
Yeah,
is
let's
the
start
crew
a
right
show.
here.
Yeah, this is the crew.
Just leave the setup here. Just leave
I don't
your
want to
stuff
see
here.
any other realtors
yeah.
in this chair. I'm going to get jealous.
No, me too.
we need to have some. We need to bring some females on here. Get some diversity.
There you go.
That's right.
Yeah.
You got to get Taki on here. Maybe
Mix it
she
up a
could
little
si-
bit.
Maybe she could sing the intro and the exit.
Taki is off.
She would. She would totally do that.
Okay.
She's great.
Yeah, she's amazing. Well, listen, guys, I appreciate you guys coming.
This has been fun.
Yeah, let's go
On a
ahead.
Sunday,
Let's
and
go ahead
honor.
and plug up like where to find you guys and all that stuff. So, Richie, you want to?
Richie, go.
As far as where you can find me at, let's see, my website's richierich.atlanta.com. Once again, it's richierich.atlanta.com. It's pretty easy to find me online. Just look at Richie Rich Atlanta, and I come up everywhere. Richie Torrance. So, bada bing, how you doing?
All right, Richie.
Richie
Allan, you're up,
Rich. Richie Rich. I love that tagline.
Richie Rich.
Yep.
We actually trademarked that, y'all.
You should have. Good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know what my website is. Is it mentorshomes.com? I think it's mentorshomes.com.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, it's not really like up to date right now.
We have mentoratlanta.com, and
Okay.
then you also have like your Dorsey.
Oh, Mentor Atlanta is my
But you can also
Instagram,
literally-
which is mostly personal, but some business.
Instagram or YouTube or any of that.
Yeah, YouTube.
Yeah.
I got a
That's
YouTube
pretty.
channel.
Stella pretty much owns that. Though.
Yeah, exactly. Stella's the star of my. She's pretty much the star of all.
She's
my
way
social
more
media.
interesting than you. I guess.
I mean,
And rightfully so. She should be.
my
princess.
profile picture on both Insta and Facebook is like it's like a picture of her when she was like 1
Oh,
or 2.
the picture on Instagram is one of the frame grabs from the video.
Yeah.
Of you guys in the park.
Yeah, I'm not a website guy. You can find me on Dorsey Alston.
Hey,
Find him in the
all you
streets,
do is
boy.
Google.
Find me in the streets. Find me in the street corner somewhere.
Probably at the coffee shop.
I'll be slinging something.
Find you at the Beltline.
Just Google Allan Minter,
Google
Dorsey
Allan Minter.
Alston.
There you
and
go.
Boom, he pops up.
Yeah, I do have a presence on Zillow.
I was gonna say I always go to your Zillow page when I'm like writing up for my new listings, and I need some adverbs, adjectives to kind of help me.
go.
I go to Allan's listings.
Thanks, man.
Is that okay that I totally
Absolutely.
Another word for awesome. That's what I'm typing into Google. I need to sound more professional.
That's a compliment. I
in
like
this
that.
email.
It's absolutely a compliment.
I think it's Shift F7 gives you synonyms. I think that's what it is.
All right, is that it?
Well, listen, man. Yeah, thanks so
it.
much for coming in, guys.
Yeah.
You guys are the best.
Thanks, brother.
You can get me at the Anthony Lending Team on Instagram, of course. Google me too, Michael Anthony, Atlanta Lender. We're all over.
And Michael's Insta is just crushing it.
Mm-hmm.
I love your Instagram page.
Tons of
Awesome.
education and tips on there. So
High quality.
Kudos to Alex.
Yeah.
Alex helping out a lot. So I'm just getting into it, right? I'm 50. I'm not 30, but I'm trying.
Hey, man.
Right?
It's good stuff, man. Michael,
it.
you're an inspiration. You're always an inspiration.
Absolutely.
You guys are too kind. That's why I had you. You guys are just so damn nice.
Girl, this
Love
is
Michael Anthony.
this is the crew though, for real.
That's all right, man. That's all right. Well, listen, man, have an awesome day. Thanks, you guys, so much for coming.
All right, man. You too.
See you soon,
All right,
brother.
rock it.
Thank you.
Keep it.